Hey guys, welcome to Blue Haven Soapery. My name's Martha, and this batch of soap is one that I am attempting to redeem. As you can see, it is disgusting. So I made the batch of soap. It was really weird on top, and then I stamped it, and then I drizzled some like melt and pour soap over it. It just looked like snot, and I'm like, this has to change. So what I did was I made a brand new batch. Cold process soap is not something that you can melt down. It's something that is like completely made. The only way to use it again is either to throw it in the crock pot and heat it up and kind of, you don't actually melt it down. It just comes like kind of like mashed potatoes, but it's not a runny consistency. So you can either do that or you can shred it up and use it as a confetti in a soap. And that's what I chose to do for this particular batch. So the batch is made up of several different layers. I have a collection coming up that is really fun. I didn't think I would enjoy this one as much as I have been creating this one, but it's characters of distinction and just going through some really noble, beautiful characteristics and character qualities. And this one is daring. And so I have a quote that I stamp into it. And I just really wanted some bright, vivid colors along with a lot of contrast and excitement. Just because, I mean, it's daring. So you got to be daring with a daring soap design. So here I am making another layer. The middle layer is going to be the confetti layer, but I'm just setting aside some soap for a top layer. So for all my soapy friends watching, these colorants are Pow Pow Purple and Tahitian Teal from Mad Micas. They are my primary colorant supplier. They do have oxides, they have micas, they have neons, they have like titanium dioxide and activated charcoal. They just have a nice selection of colorants to work with, depending on what you're looking for. And I love that gold one that I just added. It's a subtle gold, but it's so lovely. It's called Sparkle Sunshine. It was one of the first colorants I actually used from Mad Micas, and I fell in love with it so much that I use it so often in my designs. Even now, after 360 batches, I'm like, dude, this is my favorite. Like, this needs to be everywhere. Everywhere it possibly can be, it's gonna be. So this is that confetti layer going in. It kind of looks gross. Not gonna lie, it kind of looks gross going in, but it's gonna be magical when I cut it. Trust me. You always have to kind of be careful when doing a confetti layer because you don't want the confetti to float. And if the base soap is not set up enough, it will float or it will sink. You kind of want it to be suspended, and in order to have that, you need like a Goldilocks type consistency, and this is perfect consistency where it's at, where I poured that in. And it is getting a little thicker. You can tell from the purple going into that blue. It's like, woo, we thick. We getting some thickums. And since that blue and purple are not going to overmix, I did mix it slightly with my spatula there, and here I am struggling to get it out of the pitcher, but I do end up having to kind of smear it on. It's not like soap on a stick, but it is quite thick. It's a very thick trace. So I love that marbled look though. Like you can see that kind of marbly look. I love that. And it's hard to get that unless you have just the right consistency. So cleaning up is always satisfying. That's one thing I clean up as I go, because if I don't, it's just such a blazing mess at the end that I'm just so ashamed. There's no way to make soap in a clean way. It's just, it gets messy. It gets messy. And it doesn't mean you're filthy or a messy maker. Making soap just is messy. That's just part of the nature of it, because you're dealing with oils and a lot of different materials that are just messy. So here it is. I love that top. It is kind of basic, but you know what? The inside of the soap is going to speak for itself. It's just absolutely lovely. And here is the moment of truth. This is a moment that I wait for literally every time I make a batch of soap. This never gets old, and I don't know that it ever will, because no matter what I do, there's always a possibility of something going much better or much worse underneath that top layer of soap that I see. So here it is. Drum roll. There it goes. I'm really happy with the way it looks. It's hot. It's still going through gel phase. 112 degrees. Most of my soaps do go through gel phase. I actually try to get them to go through gel phase because they are easier to cut sooner. And my recipe, I use a lot of hard oils and butters and fats, so it tends to get really solid, which is good. But I tend to work at slightly higher temps than I used to. I don't really work at room temperature anymore unless I know that the fragrance oil is going to accelerate stuff. And this is one of the questions that I'm asked the most is about my stamps, because I stamp pretty much every single one of my soap bars. It's just my thing. I like doing it. I enjoy it. I've been told it's a waste of time. I don't think so. It's part of the therapy for me. And I make soap partially because it's really relaxing. So this particular soap stamp is a slide stamp because you slide the letters onto it. I did get it on Amazon. The one that I purchased is no longer available, but they do have similar ones on there. Some of them are less quality, shall we say, than others because it is a slide stamp, but you want those letters to be securely in there when you're actually stamping. Because if they're moving all around, you're going to get a really not so nice impression on that soap, and you want it to look as nice as possible. So if you go onto Amazon and search for, it's not even slide stamp. You don't search for slide stamp. You search for biscuit stamp. And if you scroll down, you will find these slide type stamps. And you know what? They're really not expensive. This one was like $5. So even if it turns out to not be the highest quality, you can try a couple of them, maybe purchase 2 or 3 of them and see which one you like better. I do off screen, you can't see me doing this, but oftentimes I will show you this just so you actually visually see me doing this. I will spray the stamp with 99% rubbing alcohol in between every few stamps just because I don't want the stamp to stick to the soap, and that alcohol really helps to reduce that. I'm beveling my soap now with just a regular old veggie peeler, $2 at Walmart. There we go. What if I fall? But my darling, what if you fly? And then on the side, I stamped daring. I am so in love with this batch. It turned out so nicely, and it was a complete redemption from that failed yucky thing you saw at the beginning. Everyone has yuck. It's just whether you see it or not. I really wanted to show you guys not everything always turns out how I plan it, but there is redemption, there is hope, and I am not a bad maker for having a flopped batch, and neither are you. We're going to have those ups and downs in life, whether soap or life, relationships, whatever it is you're working on. So I wanted to just show you the full picture this time. Thanks for coming along, guys. I'll see you again another time.